Now, the US regulator, the Federal Trade Commission, is to appeal a decision to allow Microsoft to proceed with its $69 billion takeover of games publisher Activision Blizzard. They're behind Call of Duty, for example. Earlier this week, the FTC's request to block the takeover was rejected by a district judge in San Francisco. Well, let's bring in our correspondent in New York, Samira Hussain. Hi there, Samira. And firstly, just remind us why the FTC are doing this. Why are they so concerned about it?
They're really concerned that there's going to be just too little competition within the gaming world, that if this takeover of Activision by Microsoft happens, Microsoft will just end up being an absolute giant in the gaming world. Remember that this $69 billion deal would be the biggest deal that would have ever happened in the gaming industry. And remember just how massive this industry is, especially coming off the heels of the recession, or especially during the COVID-19 lockdowns, we saw that gaming became exceptionally popular. And so that's why the FTC continues to fight, because they're saying that, look, this is going to be a detriment to the entire gaming industry, that there's just going to be too much power resting in the hands of Microsoft.
Yeah, and how has Microsoft responded? I mean, the concerns, for example, that it could limit potentially things like Call of Duty on other platforms.
Now, remember that Microsoft said that, look, they're doing this because they need to boost their sales of Xbox. That is the game console that it makes, that it is being crushed under the competition by Sony. So by getting Activision games onto their PlayStations, they are hoping that that will really be able to boost their sort of position within the marketplace of online gaming. And so they're actually quite disappointed that the FTC is deciding to do that, especially since we're getting the sense that even in the UK, that opposition to this merger is actually starting to wane.
And I mean, how likely is it that the FTC will succeed? I mean, things feel that they are moving pretty fast. This deal could be done quite soon.
Well, yeah, and the fact that the injunction was already denied by one judge, and the reasoning the judge gave was that, well, actually, it doesn't seem like that Microsoft did enough, or rather, the FTC did enough to prove that it would be an absolute detriment to the gaming industry if Microsoft took over Activision. So if they still haven't been able to really iron that out and make a real case for themselves, the FTC, it doesn't really seem very likely that they'll be able to succeed in an appeal.
Samira, thank you so much indeed. Samira Hussain there in New York. Thank you. And staying with games, the Indian government has decided to impose a 28% tax on online gaming. Experts say it poses an existential threat to what is a booming industry and could even spell its death knell. Now, shares of Indian online gaming platforms and casinos as well have crashed following that decision by the GST Council. That's the Goods and Services Tax Council. Well, our India business correspondent, Nikhil Inamdar, can explain more.
One of the industry associations that I spoke with said that the impact would be catastrophic because earlier the goods and services tax was only charged on platform commissions, but now with these new amendments, if they go through, it would be charged on the entire face value of the gaming transaction or the bet, and that will take the overall tax incidence up to about 50% according to industry estimates. So this includes the GST component, the platform fees, as well as the income tax. And this essentially makes it very, very unattractive for new players to come into the sector, which had really been booming in the last 4 or 5 years, with millions of players, as well as about 900 startups servicing this demand.